What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode. Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. This is first StreamYard. This got to be a first StreamYard I've done in probably like 90 days in a while. So, you know, hopefully I can do a lot more. We can get right to it. But let y'all get in here. Get in here. Shout out to Nate. My apologies for procrastinating. I should have had this done earlier this week. I still are probably gonna do the ones he wants as an upload, but we're gonna jump into it. And what we're talking about is 51st Feminists.
They just want flex.
Or 21st Candace Owens versus 20 Feminists. This was kind of like talking to town, last week. And I'm just getting to it because black people are late to everything, of course. But we are getting to it, and it's kind of good because it allows you kind of heard what everybody else has to think. This is kind of a rehash, and some people covered it, some people didn't. I've listened to the part that, full disclosure, the part that we're going to talk about, I have listened to, and so I already know what's coming. um I'm not gonna spoil it for you. I know Superman is out, and people have been saying it's good. Like Jesse said, it was good. Jesse said James Gunn closed the deal. So yeah, so I'm gonna take this time while y'all in here, and I'm seeing. I've been away from StreamYard for a while because I see all these new updates, but you got to pay to get these updates because I can't even do none of the regular shit I used to be able to do. But it is what it is. Those folks deserve to get some paper. I'm not even gonna be mad. It is what it is. I may upgrade if I see value in it doing that. So let y'all come in here. What is up? Make sure y'all share it. What's up, AB? What's up, AB? A lot of stuff going on with that quote unquote BBL bill. Big beautiful bill. A lot of stuff going on. But make sure you are in the position you need to be. That is the most important. And let's see. I can't believe I'm already starting to lose keys on this. That's crazy. It is what it is. Hopefully y'all having a productive day. We got more storms coming with all these floods. I've been hearing about the Texas flood. Black chick said that don't worry about it. All these, all that was like a whites only place anyway. I don't know if that's true or not. You know, the Carmelo case is people have been kind of covering it on the low, but I've been hearing a lot of different stuff. So stuff moves as usual. We are more than halfway through the week, on the latter half of the week. That's crazy. I mean, not week, but month or year. That's crazy, man. Crazy for real. I want to get a certain amount of people in here before we go live. That's what we're waiting on, and I'm kind of going through. What's up, Caveman? And by the way, shout out to Nate. Nate gave me $50 donation. This is what this is for. I'll probably do another video for him. Because I waited so late on this one. So I got this to do. I got Marty's play-by-play to do. And I got I actually want to go over a video Fawcett Media did with Paul Pierce. Shout out to Paul Pierce. I shared the video. If you haven't seen it, see it. I'm sure the dumper will jump on that. Cook, Cheyenne Bryant. And he cooked her in the best way possible. He cooked her without, them trying to tone police the shit. Say, he was coming at her. I mean, he kept it real casual, real light, in a way that you gotta really kick up a lot of dust in order to try to make it a big deal. If Corey is going to go in, and he had asked her some basic questions. And then, what they'll try to do is they'll try to say, oh, he all in her business. This was an interview This was she went up there to interview for her to be interviewed by him, not for him to be interviewed by her. And that's a tactic that she does. She will flip the conversation and make it about you, so she ain't gotta expose herself to BS. And my thing is, you're dealing with people that's got kids, either have been married, got kids, and you're commenting to them, you're claiming you're a therapist, and ain't nobody saying they got to know all your business. But when you look at what she said, that proved everything. So I want to jump into this. People can obviously catch the play-by-play. Obviously, y'all know where the support is, and we're gonna jump right in it. Make yourself seen. If you are in the chat, make yourself seen, man. Absolutely make yourself seen. I want to see the chat full as it comes through. So let's jump into this, and let's get through this. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm going in on this, so this is gonna be good. So let's see. Possible work. And there are some men in here that claim to be feminists. It's just in 2025, we're still talking like there. You notice how there's no timeline? They never establish a timeline on where we've been and where we need to go. Like, I want somebody to really describe to me what is the end game for feminism. What does a feminist perfect life look like? And I want number one, what does it look like? And number two, how does she get there? But they never want to do that. He said, "What's up?" Yeah, what's up, usual business? I mean, yeah, you've been here. I give out wrench when I give out wrenches. I don't give out. I mean, I know you've been here for years, but don't do that wrench shit. Don't do that. When y'all be out here, like, don't do that. I just tagged you in a video of leftists talking about take the economy, online dating. I'm gonna ask you to tag team coverage with me. I'll let you know. Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, when people say leftist, I'm like, seriously, what does that mean? Like, I would love to ask a leftist, okay, what is your like, give me the top, really 10, but the top 5 priorities you think needs to be addressed immediately. Go. Like, because a lot of times people focus on things that don't really matter. And it's kind of like, why should people give you support if you're focusing on stuff that doesn't matter? And we'll get into it. I'm not, because this is like an hour and a half, so I want to get into it, and I can't like do this via speeding through it. So absolutely, these are Z's people, by the way. Just playing, not really, And a lot of like, you gonna see. Okay, email me at Edward Anderson 300K. I don't just drop the Discord link because you got idiots that like to come in there and start trouble. So email me or comment Discord on one of my videos, and then I'll give you my email, and then you'll get in. I do let people in, man. So yeah.
My first claim is that the sexual revolution has devalued women and made them infinitely less happy.
Okay, so keep in mind, that's what she said. Happiness and devalued women. First of all, I'm going to just say this up front. I wouldn't belittle myself enough. Like, do you understand what this makes her look? This makes her look so much more smart. Look, Candace Owens is not dumb. I'm not saying that. But this, I would never belittle myself or submit myself to a situation like this. I'm not talking about what Candace is doing. I'm talking about like all these women around her. It really gives paupers trying to talk to the king type stuff, or queen. That's also one of the feminists, by the way.
Hi.
I didn't even see this part. I promise you, I didn't see this part. I would never run to try to talk to her like that. Are you serious? This is probably what they were told to do. This is probably part of the show, but this is goofy as hell.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, I'm
What's your name?
Samaya.
Samaya, nice to meet you. I'm Candace.
Nice to meet you too. So, my question for you is statistics show that 60% of women who are murdered by their intimate partners, murdered by someone that they are in close relations with. That's according to the UN from 2023.
Yeah.
So, how is it that, women are so valued, quote?
So my first question in that is, you're saying the UN. Okay, is that the United States in general? Or are we talking about the United States, or are we talking about the world? Because those are two completely different things. Because now we're dealing with all the third world stuff and like that and that's what I would have asked her. Because if the UN is saying, UN don't typically comment on things in far as the United States because it's a race to resources, because the United States has their own educational university system to comment on all of that. So we're lumping in third world activities into us. That doesn't matter. There's a lot of things that women go through, like even other women of other groups go through in the third world, that black women don't ever have to think about. Black women don't have to think about. So to bring something like that into it, but I don't know. Maybe she was talking about the United States, but we don't know. That's the ambiguity I'm talking about.
In the home, and yet that's the place where they're at the most danger.
Okay, so I'm not sure what that has.
So the reason why that is even a thing, which you got to compare that to how much murder happens to women in general, which it doesn't. That 60. See, this is where SAP has done a good job covering this. This is where they use number, like feminists have to do this because they know their stuff doesn't hold up. Like, if we're gonna have a direct conversation, so they have to do all this, like this statistical survey manipulation in order to make an argument. Make an argument, like for real, for real. And also, what it doesn't account for is intimate partners includes women on women relationships, but they don't want to have that conversation.
To do with the sexual revolution.
Right, the sexual revolution.
The first claim.
The sexual revolution gave.
I'm happy to answer it. I'm just saying that, if you broaden that statistic, you are more likely in general just to be murdered by somebody you know. So, of course.
But men are much less likely to be murdered by, their
That's not
partners.
true.
Yes,
And even what she's saying is men are less likely to be murdered by their intimate partners. If you want to have a 1 to 2%, that may be the case, but the reality is men are way more likely to be murdered than women are. It's not even like comparable, which is why I asked, y'all want to live in a world where death doesn't exist, where y'all don't age? What are we talking about? Like, notice how she's trying to hold the line on something that's not even really clear. Because what she's implying is men are just extremely violent, which is BS. We're saying this in 2025, guys. This is not the 40s, 30s, 50s. 2025. 2025, we're saying this.
Yeah, I'm sure, because men are less likely to be murdered by women. Full stop. Yeah, exactly. So that statistic makes sense to me. I'm still not sure how this correlates to whether.
And what she's talking about too is there is this, and what women have to admit that they're insecure about. Men are bigger and stronger than them, and women want to remove that from the equation. That's a biological problem. And the issue is a lot of the policies and laws that creates this environment that's hostile to men, that weaken men, that, by the way, benefits the elites. The 1%ers want it this way because that keeps men subdued and use women as a buffer class. This is why this stuff never has an end date. It never has an end date. It never has a completion, because the overarching goal is to subdue men. The problem is you want stuff from men, and subdued men can't provide the things that you want. And so you are in this endless Chinese finger trap. And men, and really, this is the type of stuff that men have to start asserting no. And the problem is, two men can't agree on, like, white boys have BBC problem. You can say black men have an issue for racism, but black men can put racism aside if the tangibles are there. White men don't want to provide that. So the white men don't want to even speak to that. So at the end of the day, there's nothing to talk about because white men have more to lose. So it's really on white men more to come off of their sexual insecurities, which is exactly what it is, especially in the United States. Their sexual insecurities, because they're more affected by these things, even pound for pound, than even black men are. But, whatever.
Or not,
the sexual revolution increased women's ability to leave the house, women's ability to control their own reproductive capabilities, women's ability to, control their own capacity.
Women did not need that. The sexual revolution helped women leave the house. You were not, you were tied to a man because you had children. If you don't have children, you're not tied to a man. You're tied to a man because you have children, because you needed help raising those children. That actually has not changed. There's more infrastructure around that, but you still have stuff like daycare and stuff like that. Y'all expect the government, who men pay the taxes to and pay more and work more to generate this tax, is not even comparable than you all do. Especially if you talk about who owns these corporations, who builds these corporations, who invents things and makes things right. It's not even comparable. How y'all just work in these places, like, real talk. For the most part, the companies that actually matter, for the most part, and are built by men. And so we're paying the taxation, all this, to subsidize your ability to do these things. So at the end of the day, for you to say the sexual revolution, you didn't have to have a child. You could have done all that. The sexual revolution didn't do all of that. Like, see, this is where, and this is very important. This is important because this may seem kind of mundane, it doesn't matter, but this is very important because women tie sex to empowerment. And this is where all this whore culture comes from. This is why there's not this kind of shame in, like, black women in particular are a lot. This is why you have a Red and all these women that are essentially prostituting themselves, whore culturing themselves, because it's seen as empowerment. In 2025, this is why they always push the T stuff and LG, because it's all empowerment. They actually tie that to suffrage. That is the biggest mistake. I promise you. And that woman in Shay Sade interview kind of alluded to this. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes that second wave feminism did, was not drawing a separation in that. Y'all, that has become binded together in a way where women can't separate that anymore because they were never taught that it was separate. So basically, whoredom, and by the way, it makes it so they don't understand the psychological. That's what people want to call them the red pill therapist. But the black dude who was a therapist, certified, that said that, y'all been seeing that go around. That's what he was alluding to at the end of that interview. There's psychological repercussions to women doing all this fucking. There is hormonal repercussions to women doing all this fucking. There is biological repercussions. Hormonal is technically biological, but to women doing all this fucking, because if you're doing all this fucking, you're having abortions, even if you're not a statistic as far as having children, you are tearing your womb up. BGS has said that like you've lost half your eggs at like 25, 26. You've lost like 90% of them by like 30, 32. Which, by the way, none of this all this information is suppressed because it's an inconvenient truth to the narrative that women provide. That's why they keep on elevating, talking about stuff like fertility stuff, fertility clinics, and all of that, things that generally white people dealt with, because you got these women having babies older and not understanding that even if you can keep the kid, these kids are more likely to have problems. Now, all of a sudden, autism is just a thing that just happens, not a problem, which is why Robert Kennedy is seen as weird for calling out what causes it, as if autism is normal. It's not. No, it's not. And not to mention that these pregnancies are harder on these women's bodies. Black women are having kids older, and that's the other groups of women. their second kid, which also, and they're having more abortion, also plays a role in their mortality rates with having these kids, which again gets suppressed. These are conversations nobody really wants to have because it's politically inconvenient to have them
within the workforce in regards to their own sexual capacity. So it is
sex and work has nothing to do. Sex and work does not correlate. That's crazy.
The very fact that like the sexual revolution happened that made our access to the workplace much more, or just the public sphere in general.
Like she literally, and this is another thing, you can tell people that have been indoctrinated with information versus people that challenge this information on their own. Because when you challenge information on your own, whether you're a Christian, agnostic, whatever, you know the weaknesses in your argument. And so you've come to terms with some of those weaknesses, whether you admit it or not, but you at least know. She's just regurgitating things. It's very obvious she doesn't understand. She was told this, so she just believes it. Not that she's actually looked back. I'm not even talking about questioning it for the sake of questioning it. I'm talking about actually looking at the information on your own, independent of people you being just fed this in a classroom.
General, much more easy. So like without the sexual revolution, women would be much more confined to the place where they're at the most danger. Isn't that true?
So you think that, just so I'm trying to understand your argument here, you think that if we didn't have the sexual revolution, less...
Because Candace Owens does use the white supremacy talking points, when she's describing a black community. But the problem is she's trying to gear away from that now. She's because she can't afford, she's not making money off trashing black people. And she can't afford to she's not being subsidized for that anymore because she's not with, Shapiro. And so when she talks about race, yeah, she does. She used that. I mean, Tariq's not wrong. She has said this. What is the NICU? You talk about the show? Yeah. She has said this. That's what she said when she left. She yeah. So I don't know, like, I'm not. Candace Owens is a smart person, but Candace Owens has her own, like, Candace Owens is like, I'll get in that later. I ain't go.
Women or more women would be murdered. Are you saying that women are
more women would be murdered for sure?
Okay. I disagree with that. I still don't think it has anything to do with the claim that women are infinitely less happy.
F the fact that, women being rogues on their own are more vulnerable because they're not around men. So you dealing with multiple partners or bringing you in contact with multiple different types of men, what increases the likelihood that you're going to come into a contact with a man. Keep in mind, this is what's crazy about this. She talks about the sexual revolution as far as murder, and you'll see this as a thing. They always like to go to these extremes to prove their point, and they try to make it like the extreme. They fail to do that, but they try to make the extreme like it's normal. But just based on what she's saying, you're having multiple. You say that 60%. Corner, you win. We're going to assume it's the United States, even though what I said before, that you're 60% more likely, or 60% of the murders happen in domestic situations. So by you having multiple domestic situations or domestic contact, which having sex with multiple men is a domestic contact, even if you don't live with them, or having multiple boyfriends as opposed to a husband that is committed to you in marriage, you having multiple situationships, baby daddy ships, that increases exponentially your contact in that percentage of what you're talking about versus you dealing with one person. Then you need to ask yourself, what was the percentage of these murders before that happened? You need to ask that. Versus now. You're talking about what it is now. So did it go down? Or are we in a better place, or are we in a worse place? Because feminism, sexual revolution happened in the 60s. So if we're in a worse place, then that tells you what Candace is. This is not even an argument you're supposed to be having, but this is based on your argument. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not an expert at this, but I'm a common sense dude that is like, This is what happens when you don't really think about this stuff for real. When you just sit here and you're just regurgitating stuff because that's what you were told, and you're not actually sitting with it.
Happy because of the sexual revolution, which has devalued
I think
women.
you'd probably be less happy if you're being murdered.
Oh.
Anyone disagree?
Okay, yeah, I don't. Okay, okay. There is.
I mean, that sound great in your head, but like, come on now.
There's definitely a correlation between personal relationships,
The most educated, everybody,
and domestic violence. And just to be clear,
Right.
if we're talking about just like a monogamous relationships, the most violent relationships that are on the books are between lesbian partners. Yes, when people are intimate,
That's not a true
that is actually
statistic.
true.
No, the statistic you're talking about is people who have faced domestic violence. Lesbians, yes, are more likely to have faced domestic violence, but that's because they typically came from relationships with men.
that's crazy. So basically, like, and this is that fluid BS. So you think would you say most women that are lesbians dealt with men and got tired of men, so they just went to dealing with women? Do you actually believe that's where most, like, then that tells you that you're not, number one, that kills that you're born gay BS. That kills that. That kills that completely. Because if you don't believe men and women are biologically different, then then you're pretty much saying if women are that much more fluid than men, then you're basically showing a biological difference. Like, oh wow, that's crazy.
Lesbian relationships are the most violent relationships that we have on the books.
But we can move on.
They can fact check that claim. The point being is that it's not exactly a stunning statistic to say that when people are in relationships, period, whether those relationships are homosexual, whether they're married,
you're saying that the sexual revolution.
Let me finish. I've let you try to explain how this is correlated to happiness, and I don't think it does. I actually think you're
even the people around, and they'll start, they get to vote these people off. But this is where you start to be argumentative. Like, understand the fact that this is why Candace is good to do this, because she doesn't really get flustered. This is when you get flustered like that, that shows your argument is weak, just by definition. Especially you're on a platform that if she says something is wrong, everybody's gonna break that down because it's live or whatever. So you're trying to push your argument because, see, this is what I'm talking about. See, she doesn't have a strong foundation of what she believes in because she hasn't questioned it herself. So she wants to go to this murder thing. And this is dangerous, and this is why men have to start really asserting this, because when you let these women get invested in saying men are more violent, you justify violence against men. The problem is other groups always think it's not going to be them. White men just never thought that Me Too would go after them until Voss had to actually reverse that, because white men are in these schools a lot more than black men are, because black men do trade schools, military, other stuff. So it's never you until it's you. And that's the problem. Men have to stop letting that happen.
We're having a different debate right now. But yes, absolutely. It makes perfect sense that you are more likely in general when you are in a relationship, because people are driven by anger by people that they know, whether or not we're talking about boyfriend and girlfriend, a husband and a wife, a husband and a husband, or a wife and a wife. Yes, of course, the instances of domestic violence are going to take place when you're inside of a home. But the
reason why same-sex relationships are more violent is because women don't have governors on them on violence like men do. That's one of the biggest reasons. Women have not been socialized that them being violent is as wrong as men being violent towards women. So women are very violent towards each other, and even physically. And until, and it is what it is, man.
Sexual revolution, encouraging women to give up their goods for free, which is what I'm speaking about, and encouraging men not to marry these women or to have long-term relationships. What I am saying is a direct contributor to their unhappiness, because women are giving up their goods for free.
These are the women voting this chick off.
And women are now entering the workplace, and that does not actually make them happy.
Okay, pause. Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
And here's what's crazy. What's crazy is, at the end of the day, women will tell you they prefer not to work for women. They prefer to work for men. You don't even hear feminists pushing back on that. So even in the workforce, you basically traded a man you have to deal with individually for a nameless, faceless corporation I mean, that's really what Me Too is really about, to try to wrestle some power away from that. But then this is where Sheryl Sandberg, former, I think, chief operating officer or marketing officer, I don't know, she was up there executive for Facebook, said that, men are not wanting to be seen, wanting to be with women by themselves. And that's a problem because they can't get those kind of conversations you need, the inside baseball conversation. But women created that. You got the former vice president said that. That's why, because you can't trust these women that won't lie. Yeah, I want you to think about it. All these women, look at them. Yeah. Man, I would not do. I would sit for a minute. Like, I don't know why y'all want to be first, because that's not smart. And no, I'm telling you right now, I'm not gonna be doing Princella today. That's one I'm saving for another video when we do this.
Hello.
Just so y'all know.
Hi there.
How are you? I'm Candace.
Nice to meet you. Julian, my pronouns are they, them. It's very interesting to think of it when we just think about the gender binary.
Oh my God, my pronouns are they, them.
It's, how
This gets worse.
do we place value on human beings in general? And so when we think about, placing value, that comes from a place of power, right? So I think let's select like the Victorian era. You have this dominant group of people coming from white supremacy, deciding who gets to have a proper status in the world. And so that is already
first of all, you talk about white supremacy as a woman. Second of all, everybody agrees. No, like, this is something. It's funny how she says that, but only white. This they, them, homosexual concept is a white thing. No other group really fucks with it for real, but white people. Now, obviously, there's other people that are gay, but white people are the main ones promoting, like, even the idea that she's talking about. This is a Western concept. It's crazy. And she doesn't even understand that. But it gets worse.
Taking human beings and devaluing them. And so what the sexual revolution did was to help people seek out empowerment, which
I'm not a fan of Mike Pence. I'm just saying what he said.
Increase value no matter the gender. So when it comes to sexual revolution, let's look at one contribution is sex education. I'm actually an educator. I teach sociology and LGBTQ studies. And I have absolutely seen the positive outcome with the sexual revolution and sex education and seen people empower themselves. And with that comes safety.
Again, it all comes back to sex. These are women that are feminists, but their entire value is based around sex. And again, she's a teacher. There should not, even in college, they need to ban that. But in high school, I don't know if she's high school or whatever, but I don't know, man. I'm not even gonna get into if she's in high school, but don't let me have children. I would never support. Like, that's why my kids be getting homeschooled, but whatever.
When it comes to decreasing STIs, abuse, sexual assault, again, people get to empower themselves of all.
This is babble, by the way.
Genders. And I know earlier you mentioned about violence amongst lesbians and sapphic community, which I do identify within. All genders can be subjected to violence.
That was the point I was making. So I wasn't sure of how her claim was relating to what we were talking about, whether or not it makes people happy or unhappy. Relationship
and her stuff. I don't know what she's talking about. What, you think that you're empowered, you're happy because you feel you're empowered. And keep in mind, we're talking about women and oh man.
are obviously a ground where there can be violence.
I guess I could just wrap it up by saying, like, if we all have access to like sex education through the incredible work of feminists through the sexual revolution, we are able to gain access to information and gain.
What they never understand is they act like the sexual revolution was like men don't benefit. Like, you make it sound like men have access to your bodies easier. Now, whether you feel empowered by that, is irrelevant. Men have easier, like, here's the fact. Do men have easier access to your bodies? Yes or no? And if you say yes, does the average man, even today, have an easier access to your body than he did before? You, we're talking about, like, if he wants to pay for it or whatever, all things. We're not just talking about if she chooses you, because all women can't get the top 20% of men. So it does. You get what I'm saying? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. So by definition, they have access to your bodies by doing less. Your sexual marketplace value as a group is devalued by that, and all the statistics bear that out. In marriage rates, in single mother rates, all that. What you quote unquote say you're doing with your bodies, to bring kids into this world, you're doing it for a much cheaper price than what was done before. The government is not subsidizing you, because one thing they don't say about the government is the government does not give you the same quality of life that a household would give, a man would give through a household. Even if he's working class, you're not in the same quality of life metrics. You're just not.
Skills to create an equitable society, egalitarian within our relationships, whether it be platonic or romantic. I'm so grateful for those feminists who have fought for us, so we can gain those spaces and create a healthier.
Well, I mean, vertical streams are coming back. I couldn't do a vertical stream with this, but I will start doing more live streams via StreamYard.
Society.
Okay, are you a believer in the government doing everything that it can to make people happy?
So when it comes, as someone that teaches in the public sector, I understand the concern when it comes to what is a teacher, what kind of information.
First of all, answer the question, then give the explanation. I can't stand this.
They're providing to the students. I do believe that we, as a teacher, I should be able to give that sort of information.
Yeah, because a lot of this is BS. A lot of this, as far as he was on the Pop the Balloon show, a lot of these people are just trying. This is clout. This is like cheap reality TV. That's why I don't take that Pop the Balloon show seriously. But like I said before, and this, I don't want to get off track, but if I hated black women, the Pop the Balloon show would be a great show. If I hated black women and I wanted to basically engineer propaganda to weaken, like the Pop Balloon is a great show. And the fact that they don't see that is amazing to me.
Again, I teach college students. One of my claims is I believe that we should
Okay, she does teach college students.
mandate sex education amongst college students. So yes, I do want the state, I would like the government to give us those resources so we can implement that curriculum.
Okay, you consider yourself a feminist, I'm assuming?
Queer feminist. There's variations, right?
What is a queer feminist as opposed to a feminist, just so I understand?
Well, Well,
I mean, the problem is, shout out to Black Hoover Strikes. I know he's got a lot of experience in this. The issue is, to live in chaos, it has to be subsidized, and men are not subsidizing that. This is part of why, a lot of dudes do agree with Trump just gutting the government as hard as you can. Because, obviously stuff like airplane and stuff needs to be corrected, but gut that shit, because it's a lot of women that work in that shit. Like they said, like since Trump took office, like 200,000 people have been laid off, at 60% year over year from last year, which is unprecedented. And you have, you better pray to God they don't automate like mail, like they don't automate like, the mailman. You're lucky that's constitutionally, in the Constitution, protected, but that we have to have a post office. Otherwise, they would have been got rid of that and pushed that to like FedEx or something. But their chaos is not secure, and they want a perpetual like father relationship. Somebody that's just gonna give them something, no questions asked, and men don't have to deal with that. Men will quit the game before that, and that's what you're seeing. They don't know what to do. I don't know why. Yeah.
Heavily believe in queer theory. So, the gender binary that we understand, it comes from colonization.
I'm doing
Yes.
that. We would love.
The other part of the claim, which is that identity
From Mexico. So yes, I do want the state. Queer from Mexico. We have the most.
First of all, that's a lie. like how we view she literally said how we view men and women comes from colonization. So the fact that we have two genders comes from colonization. That's a lie. That's a lie. Like, that's a lie. What are you talking about?
Jays in Mexico, which is an indigenous tribe, they believed in gender fluidity.
Get so just because you can point to one indigenous tribe does not mean shit. There's a tribe that used to elongate their heads by pressing the child's head and squeezing it squeezing it when they're before their brain was fully formed. There's a lot of alternative shit that people used to do. Evolution handled that. Like, what are you talking about? That's what I'm saying. They think because they can point to one, like, get the fuck out of here.
And then you have European colonizers coming who dismantle that. And now everything that we understand when it comes to gender is a Western lens. So from a queer...
So you don't even think women exist, I'm guessing.
I think everyone should be empowered to figure out their identity and explore.
And the thing is, she never, like, all the stuff she's saying is predicated on today's technology. They never have to examine, can you create a society? Can a society compete in the world today built on the bullshit you're talking about? And if you can't answer that, then your inevitable conclusion is you have to change the world. And you can't be honest about that because everybody ain't fooling with that like that globally.
The language that best describes themselves. So freedom, America, right? America, freedom. And I want to believe in that when it comes to identity. Right. Everyone should have the freedom to decide how they want to identify as long as they're not causing harm. But that's where we get into the debate, what is harm?
So just, again, to be clear, to go back to this claim, we are debating female happiness. Mm-hmm. You are saying you do.
I can argue saying that a man can say he's a woman and infiltrate women's spaces, that's causing harm. But women are so fucking stupid that their first go-to is, well, he's a man saying that, so he must be wrong. Because in their, like, it's crazy, man.
Do not identify as a female.
I identify with all gender expressions. So from masculinity to femininity. So
I'm just saying, are you just saying that as
she's trying to get her shit together because this is straight bullshit. Like, more people would have folded. This is folded. Been like, yo, get the fuck out of here. That's what that was. That's what that was in her head.
As a part of queer theory, you're debating whether or not women are happier after the sexual revolution. I'm just trying to understand because it seems like you're debating queer theory as opposed to female.
I believe all genders benefit from the sexual revolution.
You've been voted out by the majority.
Yeah, but you didn't spend your time explaining that. You just wanted to platform that bullshit.
Please return to your seat.
Now keep in mind, if men start talking like a male version of this shit, you'll get the gut. They'll see, like, let me keep it real with you. I'm gonna say this, and you won't hear me say this. Like, I'll still talk about paternity fraud, but understand paternity fraud is a potentially security risk to the United States of America. I can say stuff like that as a small channel, but like, bigger channels like Poor Man's Podcast, even somebody like BGS, understand that if it's as bad as what I think it is, and I don't think, like, even if it's like 20%, like, it's a potentially destabilizing thing. Like, for real. And my thing, I say that because a man has a right to know who their kids are. When we have our ideas are considered national security risks. But women, they can't see how creating this confusion amongst children or young adults. Like, I don't understand how she doesn't see that as grooming young minds. I don't draw like they'll say Diddy basically groomed Cassie like a puppy, but don't understand that this is the same shit. Because they're both 19, 18 years old that she's got access to. And because she's a teacher, it's seen as valid because it's backed by an institution. But
Hello.
She got them long legs. She took that long step.
Zena. Very much like your name.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Can we start with the beginning? Do you identify as a female?
I identify as a woman, yeah.
Okay. There we
Right.
go.
So I do want to get back to your premise. You're saying that women have been devalued, right, by the sexual revolution. This kind of presumes two things. One, that there has been a loss of worth, right, for women. So you're saying that women have
Yes. There's a loss of worth. Is it easier for men as a group to have sex with women today or in the past? Do they have to have less? I've already established that. So, but we don't need to repeat it.
human beings lost worth. Women who, prior to their sexual revolution, were worth more than women today.
I would say that, yes, women have devalued themselves by becoming overtly
According to
sexual. That's my claim. So, I mean, also according to and let's not remove this from the other part of the claim, which that as it has made.
Like, it doesn't matter. She says, according to who? The stats bear that out. Women's outcomes today bear that out. Women, if you look at their totality of their lives today versus yesteryear, their quality of life overall bears that out. What are you talking about?
Women infinitely less happy.
Right. So you're saying that according to you, women have been devalued.
Not according to me.
This is what happens when you see. This is one reason why a lot of these women need men to because you could tell that they're not used to actually having a conversation with people that are not going to just go along with this because of the way women politic with each other. Women will go along with shit based on what they feel versus what's actually real, and because of that, you can tell she's an attractive female though.
According to the time in which people are getting married, how difficult it is for people to find a partner that's willing to commit to them. And I think that's in large part due to the fact that women are offering sex for free because it was a major component of the sexual revolution.
Casual sex does not benefit women. That's another argument. Do you believe that casual sex in the grand scheme of things benefits women? You believe it tangibly benefits women? Because it forces men to not have to be compelled to marry women. By the way, men, when we marry you, now we have this contract with the state, which gives productive men, the ability for you to extract our resources with no fault divorce and all this other BS, right? So, but again,
this
and my thing is casual sex. They never look at it. Does casual sex benefit women in their 30s, in their 40s? It benefits you in your 20s because you're young and your value is the greatest. But casual sex, once you cross over 30, it doesn't benefit you. It doesn't, because you need real resources, and men have no reason to give you those resources. If you have you given it up without it? It's like a used car trying to demand a car over 100,000 miles trying to demand the same price. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way with anything. Why would you pay, like people always get mad at the car thing? Why would you pay somebody that's 40 years old the same a higher price if a 20-year-old can do that job reasonably effective? You don't.
Idea.
So a woman's worth is tied to her sexuality.
It's not tied to, well, absolutely. If you're going to be having multiple partners, you are going to.
Yes, her worth is tied. When we say worth, what we're talking about is if we're talking about the context of a relationship, and we're talking about you trying to get shit from men, yeah, it is. It is. What are we talking about? I mean, and if you're and here's another thing. Let's take the men off the table. Even if you're not directly dealing with a man, women get BBLs. A lot of what women do is based on the validation of men, even in today's time. Otherwise, you all wouldn't wear makeup. You all would retreat from all this other stuff. Why did you come in here with makeup on? Because you want to look nice. For who? Oh, well, I didn't mean men. I just would look nice in general. Says who? According to who? Since we're going to play that game,
to be devaluing yourself.
You're worth less as a human being.
Not as a human being, just, in terms of trying to have a partnership and a productive relationship. Certainly men are not going to be clamoring to have a relationship with somebody when.
Let's stop playing games. If you're a porn star does not have the same standing in society. Again, quality of life, health, money, time freedom, relationships. I always like to bring it back to that so we can bring it back to basics. If you are a porn star, that affects your social status. If you're somebody that's known to be sexual, that affects your social status with women. Let's cut the bullshit, because that also makes you a potential sexual rival. If you're dealing with a woman that is married, or a woman that has a boyfriend, or a woman that has a baby father, if you're seen as a type of chick that will sleep around and sleep with other men, which, by the way, I've got ears on the street, and people that are married have a lot of different stuff. Women are fucking married men, single women. I got it. This is not my theory. This is a theory from somebody else that didn't want to be named, but they theorized that one of the reasons why black women in particular get so mad about the NFL draft, NBA draft, is because a lot of these black men, now obviously we're talking about black men in the draft, but versus businessmen in general, but a lot of black men that would be married to white women or non-black women. And what he's saying is a lot of these women, dudes, are still fucking black women. So black women have been regulated to being the side bitches to their own men, and and a lot of these chicks are in the side position with married men, even if they're married to non-black women, because he says that black women don't take black men married to non-black women seriously. I would say that a lot of black women, it doesn't matter if they're with a black man, a white woman, or a black woman, they'll still do it. But I'll definitely say it's definitely possible they may be more adept to do that. And so they get triggered because it reminds them of the status that, by the way, they created themselves. This is the game they play with themselves. And it is known that women in general, black or otherwise, are having sex with married men a lot. And women don't call this out. I say all that to say, if a woman does not have a man, and you got a man, and you got to understand, the only thing she has to lose is a friendship. and a lot of these women are frenemies anyway. So yes, even amongst women, the whores in their group are considered less status, even amongst women with men not there. So I don't know why. Like, what are we talking about?
There's the market is throwing them.
A man's
what she's trying to do is she's trying to to pin her. You're not doing a good job at this, girl, but little girl, but you're trying to pin Candace into a position. Candace is too good of a debater to do that. You got to do way better than what you're doing to do that.
Response to your actions is what defines your worth, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I would say that I would argue that what makes women.
Let me give you an example. What do you give me? Because the thing about it is, when we talk about inherently, quote unquote, what your worth is, like that, you can have self-worth and all other bullshit, but when you have to apply that in the actual world, if you're trying to work for a corporation that like as a middle management, some stuff that like you're gonna make like 70K, 100K, one of the top people in his job, that there's certain things that you have to represent because you represent that company. And in these interviews, this bullshit about worth, no, because so this shows up in society. And this, again, like I've been saying, this is a game that women play with themselves. And that doesn't matter if that's a female hire recruiter or if it's a male recruiter. In fact, the female recruiters may scrutinize you a lot more. What women have said that. So again, when you can have whatever you want to say about your worth, and your sex is not tied to that, but psychologically that's not true. It's not.
Actually happy is family. So if you're interrupting, so just to connect the dots for you, when women are having sex with multiple partners, it devalues them for men, right?
For men. So,
yes. So
men define a woman's worth.
Well, I would say both of them kind of define one another's worth, because I think the ultimate goal for people to be happy is actually family.
Yeah, because the reality is women devalue men all the time. Women devalue men all the time for being short or things that a lot of different shit. Like, so again, it becomes men gets to dictate their work. The reason you want shit from men. If you don't want nothing from men, then what they say don't matter, right? That's the thing. Why do you even care? Because you want things from them. You want, for example, she is a taller female. She is an attractive black woman. She can stop with all that extra hair and shit, but she is an attractive black woman. There are people that will see her as a certain worth because of her height. If you want tall children, like it's what it is. And this is the problem is, like, they want the world to work a certain way that it doesn't work. It's against certain laws of things. Even racism is based on tribalism, which is certain human responses. However, if we're going to live in a civilization, there's certain things that has to happen. And the problem is these women, oh man, it's crazy.
Okay, so you're saying
Not work.
in all cases, a woman is going to be more fulfilled in regards to family. Like
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And this is going to work in all cases. You're saying there's no individual case in which a woman.
That's not what she said. That's not what she said. That's not what Candace said.
Can feel, fulfilled without being tied to other people in the case of family.
I think there could be an exceptional case for everything. I think there are exceptional cases, but I think that if we all start trying to be the exception as opposed to recognizing the rule, which is that people in life are more fulfilled when they achieve a family unit and when they have children, women in particular, especially have.
First of all, saying fact check, like, get the fuck out of here. It says there's conflicting research on this topic. The Pew Research, at the end of the day, that's a game women can play with themselves. Like, again, y'all can play this game with yourself, but when men are going elsewhere to get what they want, y'all have a problem with it. And that's how we know y'all full of shit.
Aspiring to children, then you are going to end up with a bunch of people who are unhappy because your job cannot replace the feeling of having a family.
So what you're saying is we need to look at every individual case and see what is going to fulfill you or what is going to, I guess, essentially predict your happiness more. Because if we look at, for example, the Nordic countries, right? These are countries, I'm talking about like Sweden, Denmark, right? These countries tend to be like, I think in the past 14 years, they've been ranked as the highest in happiness and marital satisfaction from women, right? And we see that they also have been the most open in regards to.
Yeah, but the Nordic countries are not exposed to consumerism like America is and the rest of the West is. And the Nordic countries also have a much more communal relationship in how they, like, if you look at how their societies are structured historically, again, shout out to real life lore. So I've actually seen, like, looked into this, like how they do their fisheries and it shows up in how they do industries, how they do oil. These are smaller countries, so resources can be distributed amongst them. It's not the same thing. It's not. So whatever.
Like, sexual norms and sexual roles, right? So, and we also see that there's less rates of like STDs reported. We see more, and that's also due to comprehensive sex education that's pushed in those countries. So
again, those are very homogeneous societies as well. So again, y'all keep talking about sex education. There's sex education, and then there's what y'all trying, quote unquote, queer education is not sex education. Those are two different things, but they're cloaking that into, like, why don't we have sex education? Y'all act like we do have sex education. Like, it's crazy how they're trying to, oh my God.
We see that and that's like a direct result of the sexual revolution, right? So when we're seeing that
We don't have sex education because of sexual revolution. That's cap.
reports of happiness, right?
I swear to God, boy, man.
We don't have these same rates in America. In these countries that are more
Also, these are much more smaller countries, man. These are much more smaller countries. So it's
actually open. Why would we see like those rates in those type of countries?
So I think you might be referring to this sort of mass-produced study that was a part of like a behavioral science study, which said that women were the happiest women in the world were women that were actually unmarried and had careers. No. Okay. Well, there was
reported happiness.
Okay, sure. I'm talking about the same thing. Happiness.
I mean, just so you know, I'm not just pulling this kind of out. As you can see, hold on one second. As you all can see, let me zoom this in here. Shout out to ChatGPT. The more you use it, the more you know how to. As you can see, the United States is 340 million population, by the way. As you can see, Sweden is 10 million. As you can see, Sweden is 10 million. Denmark is 6 million. Finland. These are the Nordic countries she's talking about. The top 5 most populated cities. And keep in mind, I'm just doing this. I mean, these are cities. Let's do top 5 most populated counties in the U.S. That may be harder. So if you look at the top 5 most popular, if you look at cities, like take this. Other than Sweden, Denmark, and Finland, you know, these are I mean, I don't even got to go to states. Top 20 most populated states. Like California has more of a population, all them combined. I mean, I live in North Carolina. North Carolina has almost a bigger population than all North Carolina itself has almost a bigger population in the country of Sweden. Like the top 10, like look at this. Like you have to go like to Wisconsin and Missouri. So
it could be different. There's tons of studies. The point being,
my point in saying that is, and keep in mind, most of those countries are all white. I don't even care. I don't typically ask questions like that. I ask more questions as far as like factual stuff. Because I know I know it's right. But my thing is, you're talking about these Nordic countries. These are not very large population samples. You know, like for real. And in those countries, yeah, it's come on now.
Is that in 2023 there was
the goal is to get to like 3. I'm at like this is the 3rd. The goal is to get to like 5 or 6 of these people.
Was this massive scandal where they recognized that a lot of these studies that were being produced, behavioral science, was proven to be a complete fraud, and they were unable to reproduce these studies, and they also found that the data had been
so she's even saying that the studies are bullshit. And they fact checked that.
Faked. The data that we can look at that I think shows, and you can let me know if you agree.
Because this is about indoctrination.
With this, if women, and under the imagination of the feminist umbrella, were really unhappy when they were in the home, and then entering the workforce has made women happier and infinitely feeling more secure about themselves, we could, I think, reasonably expect that there would have been a decrease in
it's feminine supremacy, at least what it is now.
suicide rates amongst women.
You would have to go ahead and show how that correlation, right, is going to be a direct cause of women going into the workforce.
Okay, well, how can we, let's measure, then you have to give me a way that we can measure happiness. How can we measure happiness? So I would say suicide rates would be a good thing to look.
Well, I mean, she doesn't know. Actually, she doesn't have to, because that was not her argument. Her argument was that, like, let's be clear. If women are less happy, you don't have to say why unless it's some new thing you're introducing. We've been through this history already. So if they're less happy, feminism is like the standing block. Appreciate JB for the $10.
Drug, alcohol consumption would be
of course, right? But we would have to. We can say, I can say at this point in society, I don't think everyone's happy. I think there's a lot of things that we need to reconcile in society.
That's what I'm getting at.
Right,
so
but we have to look at the cause, right? Why are these things predicted, right? And for example, if we talk about men, there are a lot of things we can look at, right? That tend to predetermine suicide, right? But we can't say, oh, these two things are happening at the same time. This caused this other thing.
Yes, that's right. But I do think that we can objectively say that women who are committing suicide rates more than they were in the 1950s, like it has actually increased marginally. That's not a sign that us entering the workforce suddenly made us all very happy.
How is it a cause of the workforce?
We're also binge drinking at a higher rate.
How's this cause of the
again? This fun, like a lot of these women, they make this argument. Notice how they never speak about this in a work-life balance standpoint. They always make this argument from a men are saying you have to go into the home. Here's my thing. This is where the 50-50 argument comes from. Men are like, hey, you can stay. You don't have to go back in the house. But what's not about to happen is you think I'm about to pay for everything when you have a job. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And I don't care what anybody says. This is why these women, when these chicks talk about a man paying something, they'll come out and say, well, he's controlling. Well, what am I paying for? You don't get to be equal. You don't get to be equal to me and I'm paying for everything. That's just not how that works. I don't know where, like when you was under your mama, your opinion didn't matter when you was in their house. I don't know why that would change with this if I'm paying for everything.
At a higher rate.
How is this a cause of entering?
Because I think women are being put on a pathway aspirationally.
But you're going to have to, you're saying you think this, right? But where's the cause? Like you're not substantiating the claim. You're saying, this is what I think. I'm seeing two.
Okay, pause.
Well, that's the point. That's the point. Like, why are you looking for other people to validate what you're talking about? That was the point of her bringing up that study. You put all that faith in that study, and that study, and they fact checked it. They said it was fake. It was fake. At the end of the day, you're talking about the cause. I mean, y'all say men are the cause of everything that's wrong with y'all. So, I mean, the point is that they're not happy. And your job, okay, let's look at a woman's day. A job, you sleep 7-8 hours. Your job is at least 7-8 hours. What the fuck do you think it is? What new cause? Or you tell me what fucking new cause it is. You tell me what's going on right now that's causing it. If it ain't your job, women entering the workplace, what is it? And by the way, when you didn't have to work in the house, like, have you not had a job? Do you wonder, have any of y'all, you know the difference between not having a job or having time? I mean, this has been proven with COVID. When everybody didn't work and they wanted to work from home, everybody don't want to leave that. Even though a lot of people don't like working from home, they want to be around people. Granted, but why? Because they weren't on that corporate wheel. Like again, you're playing with yourself, and this is why you always have these young people pushing this, because the way they experience time is different. Even though you'll get some old people that's going to be talking stupid in a second. But of course, you're going to believe that because you don't have perspective on your side. You've
been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
You don't have perspective. you're just looking at it as somebody, you haven't been in the workforce a long enough time to really make that assessment. Like, this chick look like she's probably 25, 26. So it's like, this shit's still new to you.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Great job.
I mean, yeah, I like the kind of, I don't want to say it's straight out of the 70s, but as far as she dressed and how she looks, yeah. I mean, the thing is, if she gets with a smart, but let's see if she deals with brothers. But if she would get with a smart brother, and have these conversations, she'll find, and she likes them, she'll find out she'll be losing these conversations. But most dudes are not gonna go this deep with these chicks because why would you? It's too much cost because they can't handle being wrong. This chick was like, I'm not waiting.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm Nikki.
Nice to meet you.
So when we're talking about the value of women on a societal scale and how we
Oh my gosh, you can just tell she's one of these chicks that she's smart mouthed to white men. You could just tell. I'm sorry, you could just tell.
view each other, right? When you're devaluing
Oh, this is the chick that wants to bring up the R word.
us, you're objectifying us. And follow me, I promise. But rape rates have gone down by about half in the last 20 years, right? So if you're saying we're less valuable now, why wouldn't we be suffering at a higher rate?
Oh man, unfortunately, because I got the broke plan. StreamYard won't allow me to do my my videos. But if I did, I would do the one where it's you serious? You serious? Or the Russell Westbrook, what are you talking about? I swear to God, they really think that's the trump card when it comes to sexual assault. They really believe that is the trump card.
So is the argument that you're making, just so I understand, that because women are giving up sex for free, they're not being raped?
Every study shows rape is not correlated with just sexual gratification. It is a power structure.
Okay.
So it is about objectifying and abusing women when you rape them.
The reality is, the way she's talking, she acts like taking pussy was commonplace. Like, understand. I need y'all to really understand. Let's say you are one of these. Let's say there is a guy that takes pussy. You do realize when you have to sleep, right? You do realize that if you're in a domestic situation and you're taking it like that, that there's going to be a time that you're going to be asleep and she's not. I don't know why they don't ever factor that in there. I don't get that. I really don't. Like, they act like they're like
Not about whether or not you want sex. What I am saying is that women are less objectified, so therefore we are being raped.
And remember, these are white women saying this too. I want you to really understand this. This is white women. So they're talking about the power dynamic they have with white men. Because all men can't do this. If a white woman is assaulted by a non-black man, whether they're Hispanic or they're black, the response is overwhelming. You can look at Jonathan Majors. So let's cut the crap. Like, white women, I swear, live in their own artificial world.
Raped less.
Okay, so you think that in today's society, because this is pretty wild for me. In the 1950s, you're saying women were more objectified than today in the land of OnlyFans, the Kardashian clan, and women that are essentially putting up their boobs and butts for free on Instagram. You're saying we finally have achieved less objectification, where women can't even get onto an
Even that dude in the background is kind of smiling.
advertising. You can't even advertise a bag without them having to be naked in order for them to get a career as a model. You're saying, oh, great, we've achieved actually less objectification.
So I'm not trying to suggest that I think that the over-commodification of women's bodies is positive. But what I am saying is that when you're going to the 1950s,
My thing is, the thing that women tell on themselves when they say this stuff is, my question is, if this shit happens to the extent that it does, why isn't this promoted in the society more? Like, if I really want to play racial politics like that, why do you all allow black men to be seen as violent like this when you all know that this is way more likely to happen? Or in your mind, you think this is more likely to happen to you all with less consequence? I don't understand that. And in my opinion, you all go along with these narratives, which is why that men versus bears shit falls flat for me. It would have anyway, but this is really why. Because it's kind of like when y'all start hooping and hollering, you all do not, even with me too, you all allowed black men to become the face of this stuff. You all allowed this. Like, because at the end of the day, you all benefit from the image. And this is what you know, they don't like to talk about.
50s, that we shouldn't put this glazed look of, oh, it was so happy. We had single income households and we got to stay home. We also had a pill popping problem. We also reviewed as
we have more of a pill popping problem. What this goes to show you is no matter what you give women, women are going to have an issue. That's what it really shows, because women are just as upset now. These are not happier women today, the way these women act. These women are acting, a lot of these women are acting feral today. Like, what are you talking about?
maids. Like, we were seen as a house appliance far more than we were as people. And so when
oh my God, man, that's crazy. You do realize white women had slave plantations and they inherited like what? This is a white woman saying this. I want you to really understand this. I want you to understand. This is the woman that black women say has it all, saying this shit. This is not an ugly female. She reminds me a little bit of JoJo. Remember that white chick JoJo that could sing "Get Out Right Now"? That shit. She has that look. You know, JoJo didn't get her career. They fucked her in her career, and now she's a feminist. Damn. Black men would have put her on.
you have that kind of objectification,
She has that look.
where you are in a
You need to be with a black dude. That's what that is.
subservient position, I think we're facing a different form today, but I think that rape is a signifier.
Gone, girl. You had a lot of time. You did that power step to sit here. You went right to the R word, huh?
Of a contradiction to your statement.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense, but I do want to rebut it on a couple of points. So first, I just want to say, suggesting that objectification has gone downward since the 1950s is wild. That's just a firm no. That is not the truth, and you know that's not true.
Wait, so do you feel like
hold on, let me answer your
like,
second thing.
okay.
Second thing, you then brought up, okay.
She keeps coming back to this R, man. It's a joke where they ask, why do you keep like why it's some joke where oh, it was from, what's that, Dexter? And I haven't seen the show. I've seen clips though, where the chick's like, oh, you're gonna R me? He's like, why do you keep saying R? Like, what's up with you with that? But he said, killing you though. Oh, that's something else. And he had her like tied up. So you're gonna R? And this chick was a murderer herself. She was a serial killer herself. Like, you're in the army now? And it's like some of y'all been reading too many of them R's romance novels. Some of y'all been reading too many of them R romance novels, and y'all got R on the brain. And I'm saying this especially for women that has never been assaulted.
Women were at home, but they were pill popping.
You know, like, that's one thing white women don't play with black men. Oh, you're gonna R me now? You know, they're more likely to call a dude the N-word than you know, if they're talking sexually. Because if you play with the R, if you even say that, you be like, oh, we're race playing, and oh, black man, you're gonna R me. Like, whoa, that dude, like, nah, we can't do no. I was just no, that is a dude's life will flash before his eyes. Oh, heck no, I can't. I'm sorry. In fact, here's $20, even though $50, even though we didn't do that, you're getting ghosted. Oh no. In fact, I gotta re-examine if I did. You know, they don't play with that. You said black men try to put JoJo in. Yeah, I mean, she was very talented. I'd had to look at that. I would love somebody to do a video about her. But what happened is her career, her issue was she went through the same situation as Kesha, where they locked up her ability to make music. So it didn't matter. And you gotta remember, you didn't have social media like you have now. You didn't have that like you have now. So, and she tried to come back now, but it is what it is.
Well, you then have to acknowledge we're actually popping more pills now, right? So we have actually increased our amount of pill popping. Women are having overdoses on opioids. And on top of that, since I think 1999, by rate, we are increasing our opioid use compared to men. So women are not popping pills less because we're going into the workforce. That's actually not true at all either. We're also, like I said to you, consuming alcohol more and binge drinking more than we did in the 1950s, which is why I was trying.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I think a lot of white women want white men to have more of a disposition towards them that black men have. But the problem is that is white supremacy, which is why that is a big reason why that is. And they don't want you want the men, but you don't want the community. And you don't understand that there's a reason that it's like that, and that kind of goes hand in hand, and that's what they struggle with.
Trying to get her to say, we need to look at actually give me any reasonable metric of how we can define happiness.
Some of you need girls don't even know who JoJo was. You just keep working, girls.
Because it's hard, right? Are you happy? Yes or no?
Sure, but wait, hold on. We're actually avoiding what my original point was about rape being the
It's sad. I know people are like, oh my God, you laughing. I mean, like, she just, I know, look, they already got the flag, man. They like, get this bitch. Like,
signifier.
You took your shot, bitch. Sit down.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return.
You took your shot. Sit down. You came in here with the R gun. Pew pew pew. Come on.
To your seat.
Thank you. Nice.
Which, by the way, Candace has been harassed by a white dude to the point where he had legal issues when she was younger. So.
Meet you.
Oh, this chick.
Hi.
Hi.
I like your hat.
Whitney Shanahan.
Nice to meet you.
I am fascinated by your claim that women have lost happiness since the sexual revolution, since the 1950s.
I mean, you all are still bitching. So what are we talking about? You all are still bitching. I mean, what are we...
Do you think that there is any tie to happiness and freedom and happiness and choice? Because since 1950s, since the sexual revolution, women have gotten exponentially more freedom.
Here's the problem. You all have freedom, but you all don't have accountability. See, the country is built on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what you all don't understand. The pursuit, meaning happiness is not guaranteed. Liberty is that freedom part. Pursuit of happiness. By the way, life, goes against abortion, but whatever. But that pursuit of happiness is where you all fall, because you all think happiness is a right. Happiness is not a right.
And more choice. And for me, as a mother and as a woman, having the freedom to choose what I do, to make my own destiny, makes me infinitely more happy than, say, back before the sexual revolution, when I couldn't get a bank account, couldn't get a home loan.
But the problem is a lot of these women do not understand. Women can also not get into debt. And again, these are things that white women keep saying. I want y'all to really understand that. This is why BGS calls it the myth of white womanhood, by the way. But the thing that kills me about this is technology was not the same back then. There are things you can do now because of technology. So it has especially with sex. So again, let's keep going.
Couldn't work outside the home, couldn't travel around without a man, couldn't control my own
That's not true. You can travel around without a man. That's not true.
reproduction. So I feel
You controlling your own reproduction doesn't have anything to do with men. That's technology. So what are you talking about?
that happiness
Again, that's technology. Once you've tied who you are to technology, we're on a slippery slope.
personally, my belief is tied to our ability to have freedom. And I think that in the United States, protecting freedom and our individual freedoms is what's going to lead us to happiness.
Did you go to college?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so she got triggered by that statement. That was funny. Did you? That's not the point of her saying that, but she got triggered. You saw that, right?
So you have a degree.
Absolutely.
Now, when you went to college, did you go to college because it was simply something that you wanted to do, or did you think that I have to go to college because in order to get a job, I have to have a college degree?
I went to college for art because I was fascinated with art.
Okay. It's just answering my question. Did you go to college? Like, was that the only reason you went to college, or did you think that I might want to do something in art, so I have to go to college, like for my career?
I went to school because I wanted to expand my horizons. I mean, I think that's why most people go to university.
No,
Why
so
did
that's
you
actually,
go?
That's actually not
Why
true.
did
A lot
you
of
go?
I went, and I think a lot of people go because there's a pressure.
And by the way, all this bullshit she's talking, what that says, if what she's saying is true, is that she comes from a very privileged background. So the bullshit she's talking about, it doesn't apply to her in the same way.
That if you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure.
It's a choice. Everything's a choice. So
Okay.
taking away choices doesn't make people happier.
Yeah,
Taking
but
away
I'm
freedoms
actually
doesn't make people happier.
I'm disagreeing with you on the idea that people are feeling more free by financial pressure. I think financial pressure makes people feel remarkably less free.
So you want no bank accounts again? Women not to have
I
credit
did-
cards?
See, this is where we start playing this game. What Candace is trying to say is it's like game theory. You can use economics to control people. And she'll go deeper into that, but you can use economics to control people. Your need as a woman, most women don't even have the option to be a stay-at-home mother because it's not enough men to make enough money to facilitate that. Meaning now you have to work. You have to work. They've created, now you may be good with that, but the reality is if she got an art degree, what do you actually do for work? And that's where they never got into. What you'll probably find is she's a very privileged white woman, and she's not experiencing what 99% of even 95% of what even other white women have to deal with. 70% of white women work. And they work. A lot of them choose to, but a lot of them have to work. And you can't bitch with economics. You can't. Economics is a nameless, faceless thing. It's an environment you just have to deal with. BGS talks about this all the time. Just like it's common to work multiple jobs now. That wasn't always true. And so you got women that are working out their minds, whether they're working doubles or whatever, and their bodies are not built to do that like men can. And quite frankly, this is not, men have a lower life expectancy than women because we take on these things. That's why the life expectancy of women is starting to fall a little bit. But see, this is what doesn't get talked about because she just wants to be right.
I'm not
bank
saying that
accounts?
women shouldn't have access to credit cards or banking accounts. You're putting
Oh wow. I mean, anyway, what I was saying is this shit looks goofy as hell when you throw this at another woman. Like, see, if this was a man, now it looks like mansplaining. Now he has to address that because if it's not addressed, now women are just gonna be like, oh, he's this type of dude. See, with Candace, you can't do that. And also, she's married. She had the career. She has the career. She is married, with a white man, let alone a man, and has a child. So you can't just not so when you can't hide behind this, you see how these things, but this is what I keep saying. These things fall flat when you can't just play the dodge game. And you have to come off saying stupid shit like, do you think women shouldn't have bank accounts and all these other things? That's not what she said originally. That's not what the stuff is built around. And this is like, This is why, you know, when they always put up people like Andrew Tate or Myron, they always throw these ideas at these people, even if they don't really say it, or if they say it in jest. But Candace has never said that. You all can't hear me? Press 1 if you can hear me. Okay, yeah, what it was is y'all couldn't hear me before. Okay, so y'all weren't hearing me. Okay, they were just new to that. Okay, let me jump back to that. But yeah,
they don't want to.
But like I was saying, I mean, all right, we're getting there. All right.
Putting words in my mouth, so why don't you respond to the words that I'm saying?
Well, less financial.
Because there's a pressure that if you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure.
It's a choice. Everything's a choice. So taking away choices doesn't make people happier. Taking away freedom doesn't make people happier.
Yeah, but chaos does. Chaos can. There is that's.
Disagreeing with you on the idea that people are feeling more free by financial pressure. I think financial pressure makes people feel remarkably less free.
So you want no bank accounts again, women not to have credit cards?
I'm not saying that women shouldn't have access to credit cards or banking accounts. You're putting words in my mouth, so why don't you respond to the words that I'm saying?
Well, less financial pressure if I don't have a...
And nobody is saying that. Nobody's serious saying that. You don't see podcasters that actually claim they hate women saying that. So that's immature. That's some immature shit. And it's very obvious that when she gets stressed, she just crashes out, which tells me you ain't really dealt with stress like that. That's which basically supports my she's privileged assumption.
Bank account, that's a lot less financial pressure, I guess, right?
Financial pressure in terms of most people that go to college, and I'm counting myself among them, it's because typically in order to get the job that you're being sold is going to make you infinitely happier and infinitely more free, it just requires a college degree. And most of these people, to be clear, have to put themselves, the majority of people have to put themselves into debt. And I don't think anybody would describe debt as a form of freedom, right? I don't think anybody would realistically say...
Let's get back to happiness. So we're here to talk about happiness and how the sexual revolution, and we're not talking about college debt.
I think it's important because we're talking about freedom.
Yeah, she doesn't even understand. That's what I'm saying. This is someone I'm telling you, she doesn't view money in the same way. This is somebody. I'm sorry. Look, you can say I'm not projecting because I don't fucking have a trust fund, but you can say I'm assuming she's got a trust fund. She's got some financial backing where the way she views money is not the same as the rest of us. It's very obvious in her worldview that money was never an issue for her. It's very obvious that that's the case. And people like that, like real talk, especially women should not be in these conversations. Or I'll say that should be disclosed. That should be disclosed.
Said that the reason why I feel happy is because I have more freedom. And I am saying that financial restraints and debt doesn't make people feel more free.
So let's eliminate the debt. Let's eliminate college debt. Maybe we should have free college.
Again, it's like you're in 2025. Debt is a very real thing. And you're talking about eliminate college debt. You can tell there's certain things you haven't even thought about.
Here in the U.S. That sounds great. Great idea, Candace. I love that idea. All right.
Okay.
Love it. Woo! Champion for the people.
Girl. Very nice.
All right, return to your seat.
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you live.
Children are... No career will give women as much joy and fulfillment as raising children.
That dude had to work hard.
Oh, hi, Candace. How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm John. Okay, so I feel like a lot of your arguments today are very rooted in a sort of old school perspective, I have to be honest. Like, I think, and I'm not trying to be insulting whatsoever, I feel as though most people would identify that claim as pretty extreme and pretty like...
Children are extreme?
Well, no, that women would get more happiness inherently from raising kids than having a job or deciding what they want to do with their lives.
Why?
Again, yeah, it's not that she's retarded. I've seen people like that. I know what that looks like. I told you, man. Like, y'all be thinking, like, I'm not saying I'm an expert on white folks. I'm not claiming to be that, but I've been around white folks. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know where there's doors that I don't know. At least one door, and I'm telling you, and I know with trust fund people, they got trust funds, people that got old money, or they got money. Like, y'all, like a lot of people, most of this money is not always distributed, concentrated with one person, like you see on Forbes. It's distributed, like they own something where money is distributed a certain type of way, where money for her, she doesn't view it the same. She doesn't. Like, her rent is paid for. It's something like where the way she views money and work, she doesn't have to work like that. She doesn't. Like Tracy Ellis Ross is like that. Tracy Ellis Ross is like that. She may not come off as, like, you know, overtly like that, but she's like that too. Where if you don't need a man for anything, like the thing is, men do not look for women is, I need you for this, that's why I deal with you. That's not how men view women. But women definitely a big part of, because women, yeah. If women don't need men, then it's a certain way that they view them that's like very misandrous.
Is that I'm just curious, why would having children, which is just a natural biological conclusion, be something that sounds extreme?
I just said inherently.
Inherently.
That's the
extreme.
inherent expectation.
Yeah.
That's better for
It's inherent because it's biological. So I think when we think about things that are inherent, I think biology is a good thing to start with, right? So biologically speaking, men and women come together, they form families, and that's the reason why you're sitting here. That's the reason that I'm sitting here, is because biology is inherent.
Well,
so
I was
saying
jealous.
it's just natural order that we're speaking about, right?
Okay, let's break it down. So why do you believe that? Why do you believe that?
Why do I believe that women?
Why do you inherently are happier? Yeah.
Okay, you keep stressing this word inherent. So,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I think because it speaks to natural order, and every piece of life, I think, is enriched by
You
children.
don't think it's natural for women to get to decide what they want to do with their lives?
I do not think that saying women can decide whether or not they want to go to work or have children is problematic. What I'm saying to you is that women will get the most fulfillment from having a family.
Because it's natural.
It's natural, but also children are wonderful and beautiful and
She loves her mixed babies. No, I'm just
spiritually divine creatures. I mean, they're amazing. There's everything about having a child. Yes, it's a lot of work. It's beautiful.
Notice how they real quick to put that flag up with the dude.
I hear that. Well,
Yeah.
Okay, what if there's a little girl born and it's her dream her entire life to be an author or to be, on TV or any of these things, and having children is very expensive. It takes a lot of time. So
The problem is the way you all are framing this argument, the way you all are coming at this argument is fundamentally wrong. You all are coming this as it's funny. The hilarity of it is they talk about fluidity and binary, but they're approaching this in a very binary way. Which I find ironic. They're saying you either stay home and don't work, or work and don't have children. That's not the argument Candace is making. It's not the argument.
how is it better for that, and I understand this is hypothetical, but that hypothetical little girl to have children than to pursue these things that would make her happy?
Let me tell you, watch, you're going to see why this is like one of the worst things he could have said.
As she gets
I
older.
just think that if she publishes the book and she has a child, she would agree with me that the child was more fulfilling and made her happy. That's what I'm happier than the book did, is what I'm saying. And I say this as a published author of a New York Times. I would choose my children over my best-selling book. And I was that little girl who had a dream that, it would be really great if I could share my thoughts and ideas in a book. But it is utter insanity for me to reflect on that and say that I would have rather published Blackout than to have my 3 children.
But why is it rather?
Could you imagine a man? Could you imagine like George Lucas saying that and how people would be mad? Or what's the dude Tolkien? They did the Tolkien Legendarium. They did Lord of the Rings, or Frank Herbert that created Dune. Could you like imagine if they said that? Like how angry people would get? Just asking for a friend.
You see what I'm saying?
It's not rather. I'm just saying
Well, that's
that
your claim.
it will.
That's your claim, is that it's better.
It will be more fulfilled. Yes.
Right. So rather.
Well, if it's an either or, if you're saying it's an either or, I'm just saying that if these two things have happened in your life, the thing that will bring you more spiritual fulfillment will be children.
Yeah, there's a reason she framed it that way. There's a reason she framed it that. See, the problem is he approached it. You approached it the wrong vector, and you can't find the exit. You don't have time to find the exit, which he's getting loud. Notice how he's getting loud. Like I thought you were supposed to be a male feminist guy. It's not rather, but y'all are approaching it that way. That's not the question. You all are approaching, and keep in mind, dude, you're like the 5th person up here, so you've had the benefit of hearing everybody else.
And so women who are neglecting that, who are neglecting the pathway to, strive toward family because they think their career is going to hug them at night, or they think that when they're on their deathbed, their career is going to come up next to them and say, you were so great.
First of all, it's very well known that these companies don't give a fuck about you. You're finding that out with AI. So, a lot, like, imagine all these women that are approaching 40, 35 and over, don't have kids. Remember, Taylor Swift is 34 and she doesn't have kids. Tommy Lauren is like 32, but like he's a 37, like these white women that are 37, 38, don't have kids, and these corporations are just getting rid of them because of AI.
To me, I think that they've stepped into a delusion, and I'm hopeful that they wake up from it before it's too late.
All right, pause. Yeah. Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Hi.
Naima,
Nice to meet you.
So this is where we get to the point. I haven't seen this yet. So now we're in the point where I haven't seen it. So we'll go through this one and another one, and then we're going to wrap this up.
Okay, so currently women make up about 47% of the workforce. If this were the case and that women...
Like this red lipstick, like I'm not... Jesus. No. No.
We're just inherently unhappy or unfulfilled working and would just prefer to be at home. Why don't they?
Because we've made that, due to prior feminist waves, nearly impossible, because now, which I believe the reason that the government wanted women to enter the workforce was because it gave them an opportunity to tax a household twice.
That's crazy. I never thought about that. And if you think about it, like from an elite standpoint, that I never thought about that. I never considered that.
And so this goes back to,
like I said, man, the haircut is okay. I mean, people can say it looks like a mom, but it's okay. The issue is that lipstick. Like if she had the, I know people, you talk about lipstick. I know what I like. That's what I'll say. She just needs some lip gloss, fucking that, that shit. I'm telling you right now, she dates white dudes. I'm telling you right now, that's what that is. That's what that is.
What I was saying is that there's a lot of financial pressure that is being exerted on young women to enter the workforce, and they do so blindly under this illusion that somehow entering the workforce is going to make you more fulfilled, like getting yourself into 6 figures of debt.
Like you can kind of tell. I'm telling, because lip gloss and lip liner, this brown, yeah, I can tell you she's mixed, and she, like, I can tell you, I'm telling you.
Going to college.
That's a tell.
To then take on a career and be in debt and having to pay student loans.
I'm not even going to jump on her like that. I'm not trying to, some of y'all talking great. I'm not going to jump on her like that. And kudos for her not having a septum ring. And she probably doesn't have a septum ring because white dudes definitely don't like that shit unless they're on some crazy shit. I mean, she's not an ugly chick. I mean, like, she's not an ugly chick at all. I'm just saying, that makeup, I'm talking about the lip gloss and lip liner, that red lipstick. I don't know why very few black women can pull that off. Some can, most can't. And some chocolate women, so some, brown skin can pull it, but very few women can pull that red lip. Too many of y'all are getting red lipstick, and I don't know why, other than y'all trying to look like a white woman. If I got to tell you this, that's problematic. If I got to tell you this, that's problematic. I shouldn't have to tell you this.
While you make 35K is going to make you happier. And I'm saying that isn't actually true.
Okay, so I hear that.
Yeah.
At the same time, would you not agree that that women can both have a career and have children? I mean,
Oh, I remember this. My bad. This is not the new one. This is the have it all bullshit.
you were actively doing that
This is the have it all bitch.
Right
now.
And I want to be very clear because I am actively doing it right now. I would be someone that you would call an exception because I get to work from home. I get to wake up in the morning. I don't have a boss, right? I don't have to go into the office from 9 to 5. I get to then therefore spend the entire morning with my children.
You're an exception, and the 47% of women that make up our labor force are also an exception?
No, the exact opposite. So I'm trying to make it more realistic because I think it's really bad form when people.
The thing is, with all these women, and this even a dude, they all think they got her. Yo, this is like charging Darth Vader. You do not, if I just slash that box, he's done. You do not charge Darth Vader. You cannot think that you cannot get her with checkers. That's not how that works. Like, she's not even, honestly, real talk, and I'm gonna tell you, I can tell you. I've listened. I don't listen to Candace a lot, but Candace is not even thinking right now. She's on autopilot. Candace is on cruise control right now. Like, y'all see me when I be having certain streams of consciousness, I be just on cruise control. If I'm just on my lives, she's on cruise control. She's on cruise control, yo. I don't think people understand that. She's not even trying. It's only when somebody say some extra crazy shit that she starts laughing. But other than that, she's on cruise control.
Who are able to stay at home, right, and are able to start working at 1:00 p.m. as I do after being around their children. The children are running around all day. Will then preach to you that every woman can have this. That's.
I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. The positive thing about septum rings is, not to deal with her. It's a screaming, don't talk to me if you're a man. So it's good.
It's not the reality. The reality is that the overwhelming majority of people are stuck behind a desk all day and they're not happy. They're not doing work that gratifies them at all. And at the same time, they're suspending.
Well, that's just what career you've chosen. But I think that the issue
most
with
people work a 9 to 5. I think that's
okay.
reality,
Yes, but
right?
if it's the job that is making them unhappy, then maybe they should have chosen a different career path and not the structure of the career itself. But my issue with this is that not only is it claiming that women can't both be mothers.
I mean, she just, do you understand what work is? Everybody can't be an influencer. Everybody can't be on the internet. What are you talking about? This is what I'm saying. These people are supposed to be educated, yo. She just put that aside, but let's see what else she got to say.
And have jobs, which we know to be true because millions of women do that. My mother does that. You are actively doing it right now.
Yeah, but the problem is when people like this have it all, there's cost to that. It's not a one-to-one thing. There is cost to that. For example, I don't have children. My mother died. My mother would have been a great grandmother. Great, when I say great, I mean she would have been an excellent grandmother. There are certain things that if I have a son or a daughter that they will not experience because I didn't have a child. Or because my mother is not alive. And ironically, my mom didn't really know her mom like that. So this seems to be kind of a generational thing that I have to look into, because this happened with her too, except, yeah. My point is that there's a cost. Now that's like saying, well, I had a mom and I have a kid. It's just they don't one-to-one. That's what you're saying. The thing about it is, when daycare is like a very big cost, for example, that women are not telling the truth because they're trying to uphold an ideal for young women. They're lying, and the thing is, she has a job and she has this. is your father there? Yeah, that's not the same as like a single mother having. It's not the same. Like it's again, yeah.
Now, but it also is qualifying what.
Oh, she does have the ring. She does have the septum ring. She does have it. You just can't see it because it's the color of it's gold in her skin. Damn, she does have the ring. Well, damn.
Every single woman in this
So that's that. Yeah, black men know not to
country
talk.
wants without any clear evidence. I mean, there's 169 million women in this country. Over. How can you say that you know exactly what every woman secretly wants? Are you asking?
I mean, nobody's saying, "Oh my fucking god, man!" It's like saying if I say people like sex. Well, how would you know? Get the fuck out of here, man.
That wasn't my claim that I secretly know what every single woman wants. I'm saying that if you.
What they're saying is how they emotionally are receiving what she's saying. And this is being telegraphed how they respond to it.
You measure up at the end of your life what brought you more fulfillment, your career or children, raising children in your family.
And the problem is that's not even a question. She wants to dodge the argument by saying you can just have everything. And it's like that's a very immature outlook to look at it. You can't this marketer sold you that bullshit, man.
We will discover that, and there actually have been studies, people that have gone to people on their deathbeds, and the number one regret that people had was that they gave too much to their careers. And this includes men, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, of course, human relation is going to be valued over money and profit.
So then
but
you
at
don't
the same time, what does that even
with my argument?
I do
at all.
disagree with
You're
your
agreeing with my
Yes.
argument.
No, but her argument is you can have it all. So why care? Because you can have it all. That's her argument, that you can just have it all. That's her argument. You can have everything. That's not how life works.
Humans prefer humans over a job, but that's not just singular to women. That's everyone. And my question is, what does that even have to, what is the goal of that? Should every woman quit working and just have a child?
Well, I'm just trying to warn you that if you decide to suspend that pursuit of family because you think that you have to first climb the ladder, a lot of women make that mistake and they don't end up finding a partner.
But that's their right. It's free will.
Man, that septum ring never started with a good intention.
Really have a right to make
you don't
a mistake.
get to say what people should.
And again, like these people are supposed to be educated, but she's having an emotional argument. You don't get to say
should and shouldn't do.
I don't think my claim is this is what people should or should not do. I'm just simply stating that my claim is that you will be more fulfilled if you focus on
you
trying
don't get to decide what other people are fulfilled
like she
by.
doesn't like do you not like she doesn't even get. Bitch, do you even know where you're at? You don't get to decide. She doesn't. What are you talking about? And it's crazy because they keep saying this, and this is where a lot of women lie. They try to keep a brave face. This is what this is where that septum ring is coming out.
Okay, I am making my claim here that women are infinitely.
Now this is her coming off of cruise control because this bitch is crazy. This is her turning that cruise control like, okay, I need to grab the real in my head a little bit because this chick is like common, basically basic like childlike logic is not applying to this woman. So let me grab the wheel, like really grab it, not like I'm holding it with two fingers because I'm going down you're going down like a straight line for a long time, and you gotta like this. Okay, I need to grab it with at least one good hand because this chick is like crazy. That's what she's doing right now.
More fulfilled in the household and raising children than they are taking that 9-to-5 job.
But you have no evidence of that. In fact, you are evidence against your own claim.
I'm not evidence against my own claim.
You are.
I'm saying
You're
that
here at work right now.
I've literally said, I am telling you, women cannot have it all. That is an illusion, and that is an illusion that is stressing women out. And I think it is the reason why so many women are turning to popping pills, why there's been such a significant, more than 1,000% increase since 1999.
But men can have it all. Men can be fathers and have a job, but women can't.
That's what people don't understand. First of all, men are not spending the same kind of time with the fucking children. That's the issue. The issue is men don't have true custody like that. That's the issue. Like, again, men can have it all. That's not having it all. Fucking having, I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of dudes don't give a fuck about kids right now because they don't have to deal with the burdens of those things. And they don't consider what I said. And I'm not saying my opinion is changing on that, but I've always said the red pill is 360 degrees. And there is a cost. There is a cost. That's why I bring up like my mom, passed away and stuff, because there is a cost. And what's not gonna happen is people say, well, you did what they're doing, which is lying, and then you didn't think. No, there's cost everything. Just like how I don't agree with what Jason Black said, where men shouldn't start trying to have kids until you're 40. That's fucking stupid. Now you can, but if you know you kind of want children, that's what taking your ass. I want you to think about something. Jason Black is the same. Jason Black is the same guy that said that is completely against going overseas. 100% against going overseas. Yet he'll tell you you can wait till you 40 to start thinking about having kids. Kevin Samuel said, really, you shouldn't even think about it till you're 30. Really like 35. Really, the magic number is 28 to 35. But the problem is we're in this environment. I want you to really think about that. As if men have the same energy for kids at 40. And you can have them, but there's certain other things. It's not about having a kid and the kid getting here without being, retarded. We're talking about the energy. Like, do you really want to be 60 years old by the time your kid is 20? Because it does get to a point, especially knowing the life expectancy of black men, it does get to a point where you're not going to really be like, look at BGS, for example. BGS is I think his oldest grandson is 9 years old. BGS is very active. Obviously, he's active to be on these panels, to do the stuff he does. He's very active in his grandson's life. If he would have had kids older, that wouldn't happen. These are these L's BGS was talking about. And I think he has 2 girls and 2 daughters and 1 son, but he has a whole bunch of grandsons. I'm sure, hopefully, Black Hoover will be rewarded that way with his all his daughters. Usually you get it on the back end, but these are things you don't consider. And I'm not saying anyone is wrong. My thing is to put all the information out there. It's up to you. But what nobody's gonna say is I withheld information to try to guide you through a certain path, because at the end of the day, it's your life. And so as I came to that, I immediately put that out there. Like not, oh, well, I don't want to say that because I'm trying to protect the red pill. It's not about the red pill. The red pill is just the truth. It's about what you do with it. And that's up to you. Ain't nobody gonna come to me talking about, well, you knew this, you said, no. I'm not doing that. And see, that's where a lot of the pro-blacks dishonor themselves. They will lie to you in their mind to protect the community, but they'll lie to you to do that. I won't do that. The community has to prove that it's worth your investment. It works both ways. Pro-blacks don't believe that. And then we don't even control the community. So again, this have it all bullshit, it is an illusion. And men understand that. You're delusional. You can't have everything you want. If a guy said, I want a 10, I want a beautiful female, he doesn't have a right to that. What are you doing? She would instantly understand that. So it's like, men have it all. They have kids and they work. Men, you act like working is great. Like, what is this bullshit about work? Like, especially 9 to 5 work. We're not talking about like streamers and shit. Like, what the fuck do you think men do? What the fuck do you think we do? Okay, his oldest is in middle school. Okay, yeah. I mean, but people don't think that way, and especially when you look at the life expectancy of a lot of black men. See, it's so this like 1-to-1. This is I keep telling y'all about that dogma shit.
Can't do that.
I don't think you can have it all.
It sounds like you're devaluing women. I think that women can do everything that a man can.
Oh my God, where did this women can do everything that a man can do? Where did this fucking bullshit come from? Like, what are you talking about? A lot of black women want a white man. You can't be like Candace. You all are not getting your white man. Marrying you? Huh, good luck. Like, y'all better wake the fuck up. I think I did remember her on the whatever. Like, and that's another thing too. These chicks go from podcast to podcast, debating shit. It's like Andrew Cook. Yeah, I remember her. Andrew Cook, this bitch. I would love to see. Well, the problem is Andrew and Candace would agree on a lot. Andrew could debate Candace, but I don't think Andrew would trip Candace up. But Andrew could, and shout out to Andrew Wilson getting on. He's been on TV. Piers Morgan's had him up. You know, he low-key checked Tommy Lauren. It's funny. Tommy Lauren tried to do the tried and true. You're not a real man, even though Andrew is raising kids, you know, and married. But you know that doesn't count for shit. And you're not a real woman because you haven't had kids for your baseball husband. You only got like 2 or 3 years before, you know, fucking arranged marriage.
And men have done this historically throughout time immemorial.
I think women is our debate topic today. So
men have had to do it. What the fuck are you talking about? She talks about work like men are going after school. Like, are you... These women find it, like, it's very obvious a lot of y'all need men's studies. I want you to think about this. A lot of black women, she's mixed, so she probably has her dad in her life, but a lot of black women, they were raised without a father. So don't you think they need to go through men's studies to know traditionally what men have had to do? Clearly you do.
I mean, women exist in a society with men. We are comparing
women are trying to be both women and men, and that is why women are unhappy.
And men are not trying to be both men and women.
Today is because actually what's quite ironic about the feminist movement is that
I think women are just trying to be people.
I think women have been taught that being a woman is not enough and that you have to also aspire to be a man. And that's the irony. It's like a psychological conditioning. What feminists went out and did and said is that in order for women to have value, women need to be like men. And I'm saying that actually women and men are biologically different. There are differences in our behavior. There are differences in our desires. And I think evidence of the feminist movement, by the way, shows us that, because even when women enter into...
Yeah, I think Tommy Lauren's more of a modern woman, so she has modern sensibilities. So she may consider herself conservative in this era. But the reality, and honestly, I would definitely peep that Tommy Lauren, soon she got married, she started talking that shit again. Because it's like next time you fuck up, you won't get another chance. I would definitely be aware of that. So you better get the money you get. You better get the money you get. You better get the money you get, because when that shit flips
to the college education space,
what did he debate her on?
Ways of career that we choose are different from men because we're biologically different, right?
Okay, so let's say that this is true, that women truly are more fulfilled at home. Now, the average cost...
Yeah, but it symbolizes freedom, but and that's what corporations want you to think. That's what I'm gonna keep it real with you. That's what corporations want you to think, and that's crazy. This goes. Oh man, don't even get me started.
Cost of raising a child.
They don't understand that you can claim corporations economically oppress you too. It's just in a different way, but whatever.
A year is,
and this is where these women start going crazy, because they don't want to work. This is why when they start talking about how they don't want to work and they're overworked, this is what makes them sound crazy as fuck. Because it's like you either do want to work, I don't want to be controlled by men, so you want to do what the fuck you want to do. So really, you don't want to have to adhere to shit. That's not an adult. That's a child, and children are under control.
Around $21,000 or more. So my issue is, are you saying that women should just suddenly stop working and now the onus is entirely on men? Like, the society that you're pitching is not sustainable economically.
It was sustained economically.
But it's not right
All
now.
Right, pause. Naima, you've been voted out by the majority.
And it's like, you've been on a whatever show. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You have these ideas, but you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Even the non-sustaining economically, that was by design. Now you can't go home. And it's funny because black women say that white women don't have to work. And that's what they hold black. This is where the anti-50-50 argument comes from. Well, men need to pay for 100% everything. And then when you pay for 100% everything, the few that can, now you want to be controlling. It's like, I'm not paying you and then you can do what the fuck you want. That's not how that works. That's not how it works. And well, I want to have my own job, but I need you to be a man. And then then go ahead, go get you a nigga that know how to be a plumber very well, a certified master plumber, and then you pay 50-50 to him, and he's gonna deal with you and other bitches that want to jump on that thing. That's the game y'all are playing. Oh, you said the other guy? Oh, okay.
Turn to your seat.
Hi.
I really don't want to hear another old bitch.
Jesse.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So your claim is that women will be happier at home. I think you're conflating, though, happiness with importance, because I get what you're saying, where a woman can write a book and have kids, but the kids are always going to make her
only women will start debating a job like a job is a fulfilling thing. A job. Well, we're really talking about a career. Even like Ebony had all of that shit. What did Ebony do in the end? She's using technology it's crazy. Look at Tracy Ellis Ross. All of it didn't have to listen to a man. And you see her dead eye stare. This is a woman that had all the these women are arguing against their own biology. It's like dudes arguing that, busting a nut is not fulfilling. It is literally that fucking stupid, this argument that they're making.
Happier, but I think it just means that kids are always going to be more important, not necessarily make you happier. But also piggybacking on Naima, we don't live in an economy where people typically can have a one-income household.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna say that, but I don't really give a fuck about that, man. It's like I'm not here to promote Candace. It just happens to be here. Like, again, she's a Christian feminist. I mean, most women are feminists to a matter of degrees. I mean, what bitch ain't got no feminist tendencies? I mean, like, for real. Like, hell, it's what men do you know? What black men do you know that are patriarchs for real? Jason Black will act like a patriarch, and Jason Black is out here fucking dealing with a chick that's got like 5 kids with another nigga. Like, let's cut the bullshit. I'm not here to, I'm not really a fan of Candace like that because of the racial shit, but I don't know why I gotta, give that fucking disclaimer just because I have her up here. I got paid $50 to talk about this shit. Otherwise, honestly, I wouldn't have did. I appreciate this is good content, but honestly, there's a reason it took me a minute to get to this shit. So this is not an endorsement of Candace Owens. Like, y'all, black men gotta stop conflating attention with endorsement.
Whether it be the mom or dad that stays home. And so I think, and you keep bringing up the 1950s, which,
because it was right before the fact.
I just don't know if that's the period of time that you want to go back to.
No, I'm just going back to the first wave of feminism.
But you want to undo progress that's been done. So I'm curious as to what decade you'd be comfortable living in, especially as
That's not what she said. She didn't say she wants to undo progress that's been done. Candace never made the claim that women should not work and women shouldn't have access to work. That is never what she said. And these women are coming with these bullshit ass gotchas. And by the way, that shit was done to benefit white women. Even the DEI bullshit, that's white women that benefit from that when black men were. And so, you really want to play that game?
a black woman.
Okay, so we're gonna park aside the race politics because I want to focus on.
Okay, then as a woman, what period of time do you want to go back to?
Just as a woman, I think that it was probably a better environment for women when we understood that raising our children was.
And what makes it so crazy? What makes it so crazy, and none of these women appreciate that this is a woman that has to be subjected to other women's bullshit. Like immediately, boom, 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 boom. It just doesn't compute. It just doesn't.
fulfilling.
But some women still do understand that.
Right.
And a lot of women
and I'm one of them.
And I'm here at
Yeah, that's why we have a fucking birth rate problem, right? Because most women understand that. Like I said, man, it's shit like this is why we haven't had other countries have had a woman president. We haven't. I don't think they really understand that.
advocating for you to be able to live the life that you want and for other women to be able to live the lives they want.
Do you have children?
No.
Okay. You have a career, I presume?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you work at? What field do you work in?
I do hair.
Okay. Wonderful. So I have both children and a career, as somebody pointed out. And so the fact that I'm saying that you will be infinitely more fulfilled at the end of the day by raising your children than you will be if you come home and you say, wow, I really crushed it dyeing somebody's hair today. What is it exactly that makes you angry about hearing that? Like, that's what I'm actually trying.
Nothing makes
I'm
me
trying
angry.
to get.
No,
I'm trying to get to the. I'm trying to get to the implicit revolution.
That's the thing is that no one
when
is
someone
angry.
mentions children.
No, see, no one's angry when you mention children. I get angry, I guess, when you mention that someone should have a children, or you're trying to impose a lifestyle onto people that you want to live.
That is not what you all like. The thing again, you're not listening. That's not what's being said. And the reality of the situation is, like, again, all these women are college educated. All these women are college educated. And you see how fucking stupid this shit looks.
Which I think is kind of funny because
somebody pointed out. And so the fact that I'm saying that you will be infinitely more fulfilled at the end of the day by raising your children than you will be if you come home and you say, wow, I really crushed it dyeing somebody's hair today. What is it exactly that makes you angry about hearing that? Like, that's what
I think is kind of funny because as someone who's anti-feminism, you practice it more than most women do. I mean, every time you get on your podcast, every time you collect a check, you're practicing feminism.
Okay. That's what you think.
No, that's what it is. Because without feminism, you wouldn't be able to exist.
That is not, that's like saying, she really thinks she said something.
Yeah, people keep saying, I hate when people say that.
But it's just the
it
truth.
just shows that you haven't done the research to even understand where the
Or you don't know history.
Which was discovered. That's what I'm saying about you, because it means that you don't understand that a bunch of government officials in the CIA funded the feminist movement. So for all of your hatred for the patriarchy,
I'm so confused.
And
so my question is,
and this is what I've been, again, she never said that women should not work. What she is talking about is you have women that have been told, and they're being lied to. A basic fact: women believe, when women try to have children later on in life, you are putting yourself hundreds of percentages in mortal danger. It is almost equivalent to saying, if you smoke, you can smoke cigarettes a pack a day your whole life and never get cancer, and then gaslight you about cancer. That is what's happening. And all she's saying is, feminism has taught women to not prioritize children at all. And yeah, your biology, y'all have kids because your biology is telling you to have kids. We're not even going to talk about the abortions, but again, the corporations are the ones that push you all. They didn't push you into work because they give a fuck about you. They did that shit because they wanted to subdue men, and you all operate as buffers, and you all are like batteries. Like, women have way less money than they did before. Like, it's crazy how they hold on to these. It's like, it is a fucking cult, because again, they get so angry about this shit. Now, you want to hear Candace? You can completely tell when Candace Owens is lying, and she even said she was talking that bullshit when it came to racism. But when it comes to this, notice how angry that they get. But they can't call, like, it's easy to, when she's full of shit, it's easy to call it out.
Is it bad that they funded it, or bad that it just happened?
Men wanted women to go into the workforce. The government, which had a lot of men it was being.
Are
run
you
by
talking about
men.
because World War II occurred and we had to
No,
go
I'm
to
talking-
factories, and then when we left the factories, they forced us back into the homes?
That's not what I'm saying at all.
And that's not what happened either, by the way. Again, this narrative that they have, this is going to be a problem. It really is going to be a problem because white women have this narrative to the extent that they have this. Number one, in their mind, all men have the same power as white men, which is bullshit. They this is crazy. Yeah, white men are cooked.
So let me tell you what I'm saying, and then you can respond to it.
Go for it.
Gloria Steinem is considered to be a feminist icon, right?
Mhm.
Because she led these protests. She also had a bunch of music festivals. She got students involved. It is just a fact that Gloria Steinem was funded by the CIA, okay? The CIA being the male-dominated CIA.
And by the way, Gloria Steinem doesn't deny this. She actively talks about it. I mean, even at her age now, she actively talks about this. They'll fact check her if she's lying.
CIA of the 50s and the 60s funded those movements. So what do you think was the explicit aim? Do you think it was because the government really wanted you to be more free?
And by the way, the CIA is one of the most patriarchal institutions in the United States of America, by the way.
That they wanted to
A male dominated, it's one of the most patriarchal.
encourage women to.
And you don't get to bring that bullshit into the CIA because how they operate.
Well, I have to be honest with you. I couldn't speak on behalf of the government.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And what their intention
Well, I think it's important because you
with
just said that I don't know history. And I think it's pretty important if you're going to sit across from me and say, I don't know history, that you
Yeah,
learn a
but-
piece of history and then question as
You keep bringing up men, and I think it's funny because we should talk about men more. Like you brought up suicide.
As if you all don't talk about men enough. And again, men, regardless of men's suicide rates, we're still expected to do what the fuck we're expected to do. Men are not trying to change the apple cart here. Men are basically saying we're going to stop contributing to this bullshit and y'all going to have to.
They're 4 times more likely to kill themselves.
which is why I don't
And while
believe-
women, we're twice as more often on antidepressants, but that's because we go out and do what we need to do to keep coping.
because we're not happy.
And we need to focus on men and the patriarchy because it's actually oppressed them just as much as women now emotionally, right? Because when we're kids, we are
That's a bullshit. First of all, women are not sexually like I can't stand that shit. Women are not sexually attracted to emotionally open men, and I'm really and until I see you bitches with basically overly emotional, I'm not talking about violent dudes, but I'm talking about overly crybaby type of dudes. I'm fucking tired of hearing that. None of these women are producing these moist ass overly emotional men. None of you all are fucking these guys. Shut the fuck up saying that. And one of the things that made me very, very I saw a video, this one video that pissed me off the most. How a woman said that a man cried to her and she thought she wanted an emotional man until the man started crying about something that like seriously happened. Like, I think his mother died, and I think that's why that pissed me off so much. And then she said she just didn't feel the same way about him. Like something that, like, if a man cried around another man about this, dudes will understand. Dudes wouldn't. All right, we're not gonna hold that against you because that's your mom. And the woman was like, oh, I just couldn't feel the same, as if it's not a commentary on who she is. So I can't stand that. I wish somebody would really check these chicks on that. Like, you all are not fucking these types of men. I get it. You all hang around these gay dudes. You all are not like, oh my God, it is such cap. Shout out to Chef Butter Biscuits with the $10. What up, Ed? My position is these white boys need to stop being pushed over to start importing millions of women in the U.S. yearly. You can't build with them. Let them fail. No, the problem is a lot of these guys, a lot of these white boys, they have a certain idea of stuff. They have a certain worldview. And they can't jump out that worldview. That's a problem with a lot of people.
Our parents teach us how to cross street. Look both ways so you can get the other side unharmed. When a boy comes across a feeling, and I'm using men and boys here because they're the ones suffering, women are too, but emotionally. When they come across a feeling they haven't felt before.
By the way, this is this idea that men and women are the same. and that any masculine trait is just like stoicism, for instance, is generally considered a masculine trait, is a problem. And this is where these women start raising these bitchified boys that everybody has to deal with. That's what she's talking about right now. And they never ask, why is this way? They always just say, it is wrong, let's change it.
We have to teach them how to get to the other side and cope with it. Otherwise, they stay where they are. That anger and resentment builds. That's the feeling they become most comfortable.
No, that's not. That is not what it is. Because by definition, soldiers would be a lot more violent. Like see, you're drawing the conclusions based on idea. See, this is what happens when you have your own internal feedback loop that's not built on logic. It's built on how you feel. You feel that boys not being as emotional as women is bad, and you're drawing the conclusion that they're like that because we suppress emotion. Men exercise emotion through different avenues. For example, if you actually feel that way, the boys need to get that energy off through things such as sport, through physical activity. We are more hands-on creatures. The women don't give a fuck about that because they removed a lot of that from the schools, or they put boys on drugs because they have energy, not understanding that boys typically have more energy than girls do. So you're full of shit.
That's the feeling they go to first in most situations.
Right,
so we need to stop telling our boys that they don't cry, because they do. They
like again, this is how you raise bitchified boys, because you don't understand that boys express emotion in different ways. This is why when dudes, a lot of dudes, when they get like really mad, they go and start working out. Crying is not typically how we do it. Yeah, as a boy, they're more likely to cry as a man, but that's not functional, because men have to actually function in this world. Men cannot live like women, because then the world is going to fucking collapse. Or this is another thing that feminism never takes into account. You're dealing with other countries. Humans are tribal, whether it's nation states, racial, whatever. Other groups are not doing this. This is why the West is fucking taking L's right now.
just do it alone, and then they become even more alone.
They're making all these statements that don't mean shit. Again, in everything they say, notice how nothing that they say they are not accountable to what actually has to be built. Like, when I say built, I mean the system that has to work. These are just feelings they get to have and express.
All right. Jasmine, nice to meet you. Okay, so you say that women are more fulfilled.
Yeah, I'm stopping it here, because I don't even want to deal with her bullshit. I can already tell by that fucking makeup. I can already tell by that makeup that she's another crazy one. Yeah, they actually, that's that paternalistic shit, for real. Yeah, I remember that, and she was like, and she believed that until that happened, and it's like, oh well, I just couldn't help it. No, you do know you're a fucking bitch. You do realize that. Well, it's like, for real, like, and it's funny because it took a situation like that for you to know yourself. What else do you not know? And it's like, it is what it is, because it's good that, because he wasn't connected to her in any real way like that, so it's good that he found that out. But yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so we've done 2 hours and 23 minutes. I have done 35 minutes of this, so there's a good amount more to go. I'll get to the next couple, but that'll probably be an upload, and I may do one more live. Yeah. I mean, honestly, this society has procured like a certain group of women. I don't know what they're going to do. Honestly. Because they maxed out that credit card putting shit on men. That credit card has been maxed out. I really don't. But anyway, All right, y'all. Much appreciated. Much appreciated with the donations. Much appreciate y'all donations and everything. And like I said, if you all want to get in the Discord, type in Edward Anderson 300K. I'm in the Discord every day. So absolutely. All right. And let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Said, man, Ed, this was a good live. Go all in on it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, because these are children. These are women that are supposed to be educated, man. It's crazy. But anyway, with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.